Let's talk Easter eggs in Luke's Diner. Hang out with me while we do laundry and we talk all about Luke's Diner, especially why that scene from the pilot that was shot in Canada got put into every episode of Gilmore Girls. Just look at the title sequence of every episode of Gilmore Girls and you will see that shot from Luke's Diner. So basically, when they shot the pilot for Gilmore Girls, they shot it in Unionville, Ontario, Canada, but they did not want to film in Unionville because it gets cold there. Also, all the actors live in LA and it was just easier to shoot the show in LA. And Amy wanted to shoot in LA. In order to shoot in LA, they needed to make concessions with the studio. They had to save money wherever they could. So they shot the show in 16 millimeter instead of 35. But they also included footage from the original unaired pilot. There was some reshoots, like the original Dean was not the same Dean. In fact, there were actually two different Deans before Jared took on the role. The one you see in the unaired pilot is the second one. Another notable change was Melissa McCarthy, who played Suki on the show, was actually replacing Alex Borstein, who could not get out of her contract with Mad TV. Now, Alex in real life was married to Jackson Douglas. And the whole reason that Jackson was on the show was because he met Dan and Amy through Alex, because Alex and Dan worked together on, you guessed it, Family Guy. Okay, where were we? We're talking Luke's Diner Easter eggs. So basically, the front of Luke's Diner is different because of that. And I think it's a little bit of nostalgia, which is why they kept it in throughout. They didn't just replace it when they finally could. That whole title sequence stays relatively the same for many, many seasons. There's only a few clips that get changed over the years. I did a whole video on this. Let me know if you didn't see it. I'll try to repost it at some point in time, or if you're on TikTok, you can just search it. Now, there was another time that they used that footage again, but it was for the wrong scene. Lorelai and Rory are sitting inside Luke's Diner. I think it was sometime after episode 11 of season 1, because I know that it was an episode I worked on. The girls are in Luke's Diner. They needed an establishing shot and they forgot to shoot it. So they just used the footage from the pilot and they're wearing completely different clothes. It's so funny. After that happened, they always made sure to get some kind of establishing shot of Luke's that actually matched the Luke's that we used. Did you notice it? If you didn't, let me know. We'll try to pull up that footage and we'll cover it another time, because I know I've talked about it before. I just actually have to find it before I can do that. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you, I've not shared with anyone. So remember the mugs in Luke's Diner? You know, that whole wall of mugs, the shelves and stuff. So one of our crew members, his name is Joe Bean. He's an electrician. He came over to my Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago, and he tells me a story about how he took a Sharpie and signed one of them. And he stuck it back up on the wall. And Robert Lee, who was our fake Caesar, he's the waiter that's Asian, and he walks around the diner. A lot of scenes, he's in pretty much every season. Well, he sees the mug, grabs the mug, and is like, I'm going to get this on camera. So every time he would work in Luke's Diner, he'd grab that mug and he'd make sure it was part of his action so that he could aim the signature towards camera. I don't know if it ever ended up making it on camera. Let me know if you see it, because I asked Joe and he's like, I never watched the show. I don't know what episode it was. Check out my bread, and if you made it to the end, drop an ice cream cone in the chat.